Kamaru Usman is an absolute legend, still good enough to be a prime, surging, welterweight undefeated Joaquin Buckley. And not just beat him, he dominated the first 2 rounds. And credit to Buckley, the fight did get closer, and then Buckley was defending a lot of takedowns in the 5th, and his wild swinging combinations, although extremely inaccurate, with almost no precision whatsoever in what he's throwing, they are effective in overwhelming his opponent, and especially a much slower Usman. And Usman is still very good. And as I said, if Usman shows up anywhere close to his prime form or to how he fought Hamzat, he would smoke Buckley. He wasn't that, but I do think that fight showed if it was prime Usman, Buckley would have gotten destroyed out there. He had absolutely no takedown defense for like 4 rounds straight. And one of Usman's takedowns, the guy literally shoots a double leg from distance. When was the last time we've seen that from Usman? Like an actual shot. Usually he reaches at the legs, grabs the opponent, pushes him against the fence, and then takes him down from there because he likes to use his upper body a lot more, of course. I know he doesn't like people talking about his knees, but it is a factor in the way he shoots. You can see that he doesn't have the spring to explode into his shots like other wrestlers do. And even with this one, even with like the best shot of a takedown he's had in years, it really wasn't like a shot. It was more like falling into the takedown rather than shooting into it. It's like he made one big explosion and just fell into Buckley's legs. And then he explodes forward again. Look how different this takedown is. I didn't even notice that before. So he explodes and kind of falls into the legs, right? He has the grip of the takedown. So there he's on his knees. And look at him explode and jump forward to carry Buckley with him to the ground. You don't see a lot of takedowns like that in the UFC. He threw in 2 different explosions. The first one falling at the legs. The second one jumping forward as he has the grip. And it worked. In this next takedown, Usman reaches down at the single leg as Buckley is also changing levels and switching stances forward. So that stance switch also changed the angle of the takedown because it went from his lead leg to his rear leg. And Usman had changed directions after grabbing onto it. And Buckley's defense against that takedown was abysmal. Like it was as if he's never trained takedown defense before. He was throwing punches at Usman when he's balancing on one leg. And crazy enough, Usman secures the takedown. You gotta defend the takedown itself before throwing punches, especially when you don't have the fence to stand up with. He's in the center of the octagon, balancing on one leg. You can't be throwing punches there. So Usman runs the pipe, pushes him against the fence, and takes out both legs, establishing top position. And in this takedown, he just reaches at the legs, grabs the double, pushes against the fence, and Buckley has that wide stance to defend the takedown. But the way that Usman counters that and still takes him to the ground is by bringing both of his legs forward. So he tries to get under Buckley, lifting up that right leg, pulling it forward, and taking him down to his own left angle. And man, was Buckley swinging at air. Up until the 4th round, he only had a 25% striking accuracy. 25% against Usman. Usman doesn't have like amazing striking defense, but Buckley just misses a lot of shots all the time. There's just generally not that much precision in Buckley striking. It's a lot of whirlwind combos made to overwhelm or fluster the opponent with the sheer amount of power and volume that he throws. Some of those shots will eventually land, and Buckley's got heart. No matter how down he is in the rounds, he will continue throwing those combos until the fight is over. He had the same pace from the 1st round to the 5th round, which is crazy with the amount of power he was throwing. But the reason why a lot of the punches were missing were because he loads up on everything. His feints aren't necessarily that great. His setups for his strikes aren't that great. He's firing with everything he's got and all the leverage possible with every strike. Now, those punches could be very devastating, and he did land a few of those on Usman, but against the best in the world, it's going to cause a lot of those shots to miss. They see those punches from a mile away and easily defend against them. And Usman's not necessarily a great defensive striker. His strengths don't rely on striking defense, but even Usman, who's clearly not in his prime anymore, was able to evade most of the punches from Buckley. What does that say for the rest of the division when he goes up against the other guys who are in their prime? Like if he fights JDM, or Islam Makhachev, or Ian Gary, or Sean Brady. The fighters who are faster than Usman will defend those shots a lot better than Usman did. In fact, Buckley's precision was so off that he would try to throw a right hook after blocking a round kick from Usman. He tried to land a right hook from that distance. If you're blocking a round kick, you're not at range to land a right hook unless you lunge in with it. Look at the distance between them when Usman throws the kick. There is no way a punch is landing on Usman from there. And as you can see, he was like a foot away from landing the punch. So that happened twice in the fight. But there was a 3rd time. And credit to Buckley, he adjusted to that. So Usman throws another body kick and he's closer than the other 2 exchanges. Buckley still throws the right hand, but this time a jab as he steps on the outside of the lead foot. And usually when he did that, he threw a left straight, in which he does again. But it's a distraction to throw up a left high kick. He threw the Leon combo at Kamaru Usman at the perfect distance. But Usman recognizes it. He puts his right guard up, left hand to push away at the kick, so he does block the kick, but it does slightly wrap around the guard as well. Usman is not getting done like that twice. Good defense and adjustment from the Leon fight. I mean, look at the whirlwind combos from Buckley. So he hops to his right to get on the outside of the lead foot, reaches at the lead hand, swipes it away, opening up the center for his left straight, and the punch doesn't even get close. Now, it looks like Usman may have slightly blocked the punch with his left hand that got deflected from Buckley, but Buckley's left straight is almost entirely extended forward, and the punch still falls short. Usman's moving away. Buckley's right punch also gets deflected off of the left arm of Usman. So hopping with that punch, he plants himself in a long southpaw stance and throws a full leverage left hook, which Usman ducks under. And all the punches that Buckley threw here were telegraphed. Elbows flared out, winding up on the shots, making it a lot easier for Usman to defend against. Or here, Buckley has his right elbow flared out as he's throwing a jab, trying to get on the outside of the lead foot again, lining up his left straight, flares that elbow out, big telegraph, throws the punch fully extended forward. Usman blocks the punch, and look at the posture. Look at the stance of Joaquin Buckley. The man is sprinting forward to land these shots, which automatically tells Usman that Buckley is only going to be moving forward and will have no distance management in any of the shots he's throwing here. He's going to run into Usman. If Usman decides to try to go for a takedown or shoulder bump him, which he does here. So after the left hand, Buckley extends his right elbow out, telegraphing that punch too, switching stances as he's throwing the right straight. That's where Usman ducks under the punch and bumps into him. Or here, Usman fakes a takedown, which he did multiple times throughout the fight, and it got a huge reaction out of Buckley. He throws out the whirlwind combo. He ducks low, gets his eyes off of Usman, so he doesn't even see the target that he's throwing at. Eyes literally to the ground, so he doesn't see that Usman is pulling away from him. He feinted and then pulled away, showing higher fight IQ. Buckley misses the punch, flares out his right elbow, big telegraph, and extends that right straight forward as he's switching stances. So in this combo, Buckley feints with the right hand, switches stances as he throws his left, extending it all the way forward, and looked like he wanted to get Usman to duck his head again because he winds up on a big right uppercut that seems to have grazed, but Usman's pulling away, left hand extended, and Buckley loads up on the left hook, misses the head and body, punching the arm of Usman, winding up on the right hook, telegraphing that punch, misses that one as well, punching the other arm, so he's literally arm punching. Bro's forearms are gonna be so sore after that fight. Then he flares out the left elbow, and Usman angles away off of the center line, slipping the punch. Then Usman fakes another takedown and gets a big reaction out of Buckley again. He ducks, winds up the right uppercut, throws it up there as Usman pulls away from the punch, flares out the left elbow, telegraphs as he throws the left straight, and punches the arm of Usman again. This time it looks like it hits the shoulder though. So now Buckley's in the bladed stance, very alike Taekwondo. He's hopping in his stance and tries to fake out Usman by looking the other way, hiding his right hand, but he does drop it. He steps forward and lowers that right hand, telegraphing the punch, but he doesn't flare out his elbow this time. This is actually a much better right straight that he's thrown so far, and it gets very close to landing. And Usman just moves away, extending his left arm to keep distance, and where his right straight was a lot better in form, his left hook not so much. Usman sees a telegraph from a mile away and angles off the punch, slipping it. So here they both throw a jab, but Buckley fakes his. Usman extends fully, missing the punch as Buckley ducks under it. So here Buckley had the better setup for his attack compared to Usman's. Counters with the left hook, but it looks like his shoulder or arm wraps around the head. Fist goes past him, throws a very short right hook. I mean, these guys are right in front of each other. There's not enough distance for the punch to land flush. The punch kind of wraps around the head, still causing some impact, but because they're right in front of each other, that's where Buckley grabs into the tie plum, throws a right knee as Usman throws a right uppercut, and both guys miss. That is kind of crazy. Buckley's knee goes past the body, and Usman misses his punch because Buckley's raising his chin with it. So it's always keeping some distance in between the fist and the chin. Then with one knee in the air, Buckley throws a right hook and lands the shot on Usman. Just crazy combinations, man. Sometimes those shots are going to get through. Then Buckley sprints forward, throws a left straight, but doesn't fully extend it. He's using it as a feint, and it seems like again to get Usman to duck his head, because he throws a right uppercut after, the same combo that was more consistent for him throughout the fight. But instead, Usman adjusts to it, moves his head away from the punch, and starts angling off to his own right. He sees the telegraph of the left hook, it's just winging out there, winging shot that misses by a mile. Then here Buckley winds up a big left hand and literally walks into the jab of Usman. Jab to the face, throws off the left straight, which gets thrown above his head, and because Buckley's always sprinting forward when he's throwing punches, he runs into Usman's head, right? So I don't know if that would be Usman headbutting Buckley or just a head clash altogether, because Buckley's moving forward, Usman's ducking into him. The top of the head definitely hits the chin. Getting headbutted by Usman must feel like taking a bowling ball to the face or something. Then Buckley starts throwing some hooks to the body, weaves under. Usman thought it was going to be a takedown, so he tries to defend it. Buckley throws in a big uppercut, which misses, wings in a huge left hook, big telegraph, but this time Usman doesn't defend it. The punch lands behind the ear, one of Buckley's best shots of the entire fight. Another combo from Buckley, he flares out the left elbow and punches into the shoulder of Usman. Bro loves punching at the arms. While Usman's moving away from Buckley's sprint, as he throws up a Shoryuken of an uppercut, sluggish shot that misses by like half a foot, then swings a haymaker, gets around the right guard of Usman, landing the shot to the jaw. And also to note, Usman went the angle off to the right side, so he also moves into the punch and takes it very well. So Usman definitely showed his chin in the fight. And of course, those are the stats of significant strikes up until that moment. Buckley didn't land a single significant strike in the first round. That is crazy. Now, with all the combos missing, there were some effective combos from Buckley too. And almost every time it implemented an uppercut, because Usman's defense sometimes would be him ducking his head. So Buckley would throw a left hand or fake a left hand to use that telegraph or loading up punches to his advantage, triggering the head to duck from Usman, and that's where he lines up the right uppercut. So left hand to get Usman to lower levels, so then he can intercept him with the right uppercut. A very effective combo that he landed multiple times throughout the fight. But the best combo Buckley landed was in the third round. This was his best work of the entire fight. So he moves forward heavily, faking the left hand. Then he changes his stance. He goes from southpaw to parallel, weaving under the counter left hook from Kamaru Usman, rising up with a left hook of his own, throws a right hook, both punches not landing flush, and that's where Usman starts to get flustered. He's slightly out of position because of Buckley weaving under his shot, so he takes a step away from Buckley. But Buckley continues his combo, lunges in with a big left hook that gets blocked by Usman. Usman's still trying to move away, and Buckley lands a right hook over the shoulder, and what was his biggest strike of the entire fight. Then he blocks Usman's counter right hand. You can see how he flusters Usman, knocks him off balance with just his movement. He's feinting with the right hand, and Usman extends his right straight all the way through, but Buckley was able to time it. Ducks under the punch, counters with a left hook to the body, throws a right hook that seems to have maybe grazed the face of Usman, but it does get deflected off of Usman's left arm. Usman pulls away from the left hook. Buckley hops in with a right uppercut, ducks under Usman's left hook, throwing a power left hook of his own, which seems to have grazed as well. Then he circles around Usman, bumping into his leg, knocking Usman off balance. So as you can see, none of the punches really landed flush, but his movements and combinations are just so frantic. If he's not fighting someone who has good knees, Usman doesn't have the knees to keep up with the angles and the movements, it could knock off the balance of his opponent. Buckley did throw some side kicks to the body, but I thought he was going to throw more side kicks to the knee. He threw like one in the entire fight. Maybe he thought that Usman was going to wrestle him off of that, but the one time he threw it, it was effective. Bro's knee was trembling after taking that kick, and Buckley never went to it again. And on Usman's side, he was throwing a lot of jabs, straights, front kicks, the general techniques that Usman's going to be using in his fight and be somewhat successful with them. He had a good jab, he had a decent right straight, and a decent front kick to keep Buckley at distance. But the crazy thing is that, Usman's striking overall was definitely the more washed part of his game. He is not the same striker he was before. His wrestling looked very dominant, it looked very strong, but his striking wasn't the same. A prime Usman would have been throwing a lot more jabs than he was, and it would have intercepted a lot of Buckley's movements, just a lot more output in general. And he was so effective in keeping Buckley on the ground. Sat on top in half guard, and just threw punches and elbows, softened him up to transition into full mount. Usman is something else. Respect to his longevity. There is no veteran in this weight class that has defeated the next generation. All of them have lost. Usman is the only one who has a win against the next gen. Now, I will say this, not only would have prime Usman destroyed Buckley out there, I think a prime Colby would have also beaten Buckley. Maybe even Gilbert Burns, to be honest. I think that generation of welterweights have been greatly underrated. Not to say that they're better than the fighters today, but they are just like underrated to the ground. Because Usman lost to Leon twice, everybody wrote him off. And as I said in the prediction video, word for word, I would not write off Kamaru Usman in this fight. This is the same guy who fought Hamza Chimaev on short notice at a weight class he's never fought in to nearly an even fight. A fighter like that cannot be underestimated. As Kamaru Usman said when he beat Gilbert Burns, we gotta put respect on his name, man. Absolute legend. I was never like a big Usman fan, to be honest. I've always respected Usman. I've always known he's a good fighter. I just never was a big fan of his, but he's reached like that legend status. He's the second greatest welterweight of all time, right? And especially now beating someone like Buckley after a 3-fight loss streak, almost 2 years without fighting, I think it's a great win for his career. Now, I do see some people saying that Buckley has been overrated. I think somewhat, and he kept his spot. He's still one of the top contenders, but can you put him above Leon? So Usman's number 5 and Leon's number 4. I don't think you could put him above Leon because he lost to him twice. So maybe he stays where he is, but he is arguably one win away from a title shot, from fighting JDM or Islam. And it's crazy. Usman said before the fight that he wants to fight Islam, and then he wants to go up to fight Dricus. So I'm guessing he would vacate his belt. If he beat Islam, he would vacate his belt, then move up to middleweight. Maybe something like that. But, and you know what the perfect fight is? Kamaru Usman versus Belal Muhammad. That is the fight to do. The rematch. Apparently, they had a scuffle on Usman's podcast. Let's get him in the octagon, fight each other. Winner gets a title shot, maybe. Depends on the performance. I mean, because all these guys are at the top. I mean, Sean Brady's 1 win away. Shavkat's 1 win away. Wait, that would be great if they fought each other. But there are rumors that Belal is fighting Shavkat. Let's do Usman versus Brady. And as for Joaquin Buckley, maybe a fight between him and Michael Morales, or they could still do him versus Ian Gary. That would be a great fight. And I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. If you guys did, make sure to give it a like, make sure to subscribe with the bell for notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video.